The DreamSMP is getting really busy right now. I mean, with the owner of the server being in prison and this whole other ARG going on, it can be very difficult to make sense of what's going on. And especially for all of you new viewers, I mean, when I got into it, this was a big number, right? This was a big number. But now you take a step back and oh. Now, the SMP has been going on for a while, and my memory might be a bit foggy, but who cares? Hopefully not you. Anyway, this is the completely accurate, historically true, very good version of the DreamSMP. Now, before we get into how the SMP came to be, we need to figure out how the owner of the SMP came to be. Wait a minute, that was awful phrasing. We just want to know why Dream decided to make this SMP, and honestly, the answer is quite simple. Now, Dream was born on July 4th, 1996, which is funny because that was the same year that the Independence Day movie came out. Why is that funny? That's because Independence Day is a movie about aliens, and Dream is an alien. I mean, look, he's green, right? His eyes are where his chest is, and his mouth is where his stomach is. He has no nose. It just makes sense. So for the past 24 years, Dream was being bullied for being all green and stuff. He would be called Broccoli Boy, Grass Boy, Algae Boy. Basically, if something was green, they would use that word and then end it with the word boy. You know, it makes sense. And sometimes, he was even compared to the alien guy in Toy Story. He would get punched and beat up for looking like, you know, Satan himself. And that made sense, right? I mean, have you seen the Toy Story aliens? Like, anyway, it made this guy's life a little bit less of a dream. So they did there because his name's... So when June of 2020 came around, Dream decided to buy this new game called Fortnite. But a week later, he heard of Minecraft and got that instead. He created an SMP, or a survival multiplayer world. I don't know where the W comes in, but it's just there for some reason. He invited two of his best friends onto the server, George, an infamous OnlyFans guy, and Sapnap. There is no joke for him. So the three of them got together and created this brand new SMP called the DreamSMP because Dream is unoriginal. Just kidding. Please don't cancel me, guys. It was a joke. So come August, Dream had the bright idea for expansion. Little known fact, Dream is a big fan of America. Yeah, it's true. Don't look it up. The green guy's also a little bit sour over a certain event that happened 240 years ago, but he wants revenge. So he brings on Tommy in it and wants to make his life miserable. You know, for some reason, Tommy is a big fan of these little discs, you know? They make a nice sound when you put them in a box and he just loves them. He often dreams about his discs and nothing else ever. It's really strange. It's just weird. But Dream wants those discs, right? Like, those discs are a part of a very expensive dinner set that George got him, and he wants them back. There's a whole war, someone probably gets shot, I don't know, that's how wars work. Anyway, the British boy is somehow victorious. Not the TV show, he wins the battle. With his newfound power, Tommy brings on Tubbo and Wilbur, who then bring on Nikki, and then they also bring on Jack, and eventually they got this whole European gang going on together. Anyway, it's just a big thing. Wilbur and Tommy get together and create a drug empire, and they tell people that the current drugs in the circulation cause, what's on my notes? Yep, diarrhea. That's not even a joke. That actually happened in the SMP. So Dream and his crew want to get rid of the drug empire because they're like, I want to sell my drugs in my drug country. And the Europeans are like, no, I want to sell the drugs in your drug country. And it's this whole thing back and forth. But the Europeans have this bright idea to split up. And they leave the SMP and create their own country called L'Manberg. Yup. Now, I know the title card says the First War, and you might be thinking, oh, what about the Disc War? That's a war, right? Well, really, to me, it's just a petty slap fight between two little teenagers who want some discs, because that's what it is. So really, the First War is actually the war for L'Manberg's independence. Wilbur is currently president, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because there is literally no one else in charge. There are no other branches of government. He is literally a dictator, but he wants to be called a president for some reason. Anyway, the two factions fight, right? Punches are thrown, arrows are shot, dances are danced. It's just a mess. Eventually, everyone is killed off except Dream and Wilbur, the owners of their own SMP. There's a dramatic stare-off that lasts for a couple hours, I think. And yeah, it just gets tense. Keep in mind, everybody else is dead, so these two are just staring at each other while lifeless corpses surround them. You know, like it's a bit strange. Anyway, Wilbur reaches into his pocket. Wait, are there pockets in Minecraft? So Wilbur reaches into his inventory and he pulls out a mixtape. Oh, look, it's a mixtape. He places it into the jukebox and says the iconic line, "Oi, bruv, you ain't ready for this fire heat." Yeah. He places the tape into the box and out comes.
Oh, I see it.
Make it 19, baby.
The sound of Western curve just blows Dream away, metaphorically and literally. Not only is he amazed by the sound being played, he's also being sent millions of miles away. Like, it's just that powerful. Wilbur then takes out his magic wand, because he has one of those, and he performs a magic spell, bringing everybody back to life. And the first war is won, with no significant things happening at all. Now, for the next few months, Lamanburg is prospering very well. You know, homes are being built, farms are farmed, and the infamous mixtape used to vanquish Dream is hung up in President Wilbur's office. Wow, would you look at that? One night when all of the citizens are sleeping, ninjas actually come in and invade the office and steal the mixtape. Yeah, real ones too. They're real ninjas. They run away out the window and flee like the little rats they are. And when everyone wakes up, Wilbur goes into his office and sees that the mixtape is gone. Dun dun dun, dramatic music starts playing. Anyway, the world's smallest violin comes out and starts playing a little tune as Wilbur starts sobbing and crying on the ground, like just a lot. At one point, water just comes up above his head and he starts to drown. It gets really bad. So Tommy comes into his office and he's all like, "Wilby, are you okay?" In that voice too, because he made his accent more stereotypical. Anyway, Wilbur just kind of points to the empty case where the mixtape was, and Tommy is just, he gets very angry. He starts speaking in moon ruse. He's floating, winds, papers spinning around him. He looks like Doctor Strange at one point. And then he just kind of breaks through the roof and flies all the way to his house and comes back with a cow. Henry the cow. Keep in mind, all of this is real, right? All of this is real. So Tommy lets Henry off his leash, and the cow grows to the size of a mountain. But a small one. It's more like the size of a house, actually. Tommy tells Henry to find the mixtape and anyone who was involved in the crime. And so Henry then starts digging into the ground. So he's like underneath the ground, and he's sniffing for little smells. He's a cow. What would you expect? All the meanwhile, you got Nikki, Tubbo, Jack LaManifold, and everyone is just basically setting up for the Lamanburg election. That's right, the election is right around the corner, and little old Wilbur wants the mixtape because it'll pretty much Because it'll pretty much secure his victory. So a few weeks pass by, and the election starting. Candidates from all around the globe come to compete in Lamanburg for Lamanburg, because that's how elections work. Pokimane, Ninja, Corpse Husband all show up, but are prominently executed for being American. jschlatt and Quackity team up and are allowed to run because they were talking to the receptionist, and they both only spoke Spanish to the receptionist. And the receptionist was just like, had no clue what was going on. They just let them pass, you know? Yeah. Now, for those of you that don't know, there is a complex 35-page notebook that talks about how Lamanburgian elections work. I'm just going to give you a quick run-by of the most important details. Number one, you have to be European. I mean, that was kind of a given, how they murdered a bunch of American people. And here's the important one. So during the last full moon, before the day of voting, the candidates all get together and compete in a spelling bee. The spelling bee shows who is the most competent at spelling. It's the spelling bee. So in the middle of the spelling bee, I think Quackity was having a hard time spelling his own name, which makes sense. I mean, it's a weird spelt thing. Henry comes in charging with Bad Boy Halo in his mouth. He's like bitten him on his head or something like that. I don't know. So Quackity just gets really excited. You know, he sees Bad Boy Halo and he's like, "Bad Boy Halo! Ooh, Bad Boy Halo! What, you got lice in your hair, Bad Boy Halo? Why you got lice in your hair, Bad Boy Halo?" After Quackity is done singing his song, which lasts, I think, 15 minutes, Tommy starts asking Bad Boy Halo questions about where the mixtape is. And basically, Bad says, and I'm quoting here, So Wilbur then takes out his magic wand, because he still has it, and uses it to make Bad Boy Halo tell him where the mixtape is. Bad tells him that ninjas took it to Dream. Ooh, scary. Keep in mind, all of this is being viewed by all of the members of L'Manberg, who were going to vote for Wilbur because he had the mixtape. But now that he lost it, they are not too sure. So Wilbur asks Bad where Dream is, and Bad tells him that he's in a terrible place. An unruly and inhospitable location, simply known as Destined, Florida. Recreated in Minecraft, though. Wilbur and Tommy get on the backs of Henry and leave all of the members of L'Manberg in the middle of the spelling bee to go and find this mixtape. Now, this full moon and spelling bee took place 3 days before the voting day, so Wilbur and Tommy had to get his mixtape back within 3 days. The first day was simply spent traveling through the world looking for Destin. I mean, it's Destin, Florida. No one really wants to go there. They ran into DaBaby, who they confused for multiple other celebrities, and then they saw Boris Johnson and kept on asking him to say blue.
Does Brexit make my passport expire? No, but it does mean that you are entitled to a beautiful new blue passport.
On the second day, they actually found Destin and arrived, and they fought off ninjas, and they found Dream. So Dream does not want to give up the mixtape, right? And that's simply because, Well, anyway, Wilbur proposes this idea to have a duel at nightfall, which would mean that the winner would get to keep the mixtape. So as Wilbur's getting ready to go off into this duel, Tommy actually steps in, and he's like, an old man like you should not be worried about shooting guns, but more worried about how much calcium is taking in. As Wilbur counted down from 10 and 2 shot their pistols, only 1 remained. And that was Dream. However, Tommy had an ace up his sleeve. He said that he would trade Dream one of the discs for the mixtape. And guess what? Dream agreed. On the third day, Tommy, Wilbur, and Dream all rode back in on Henry to get to the election. Dream was dropped off at the prison, and Wilbur presented the mixtape to everyone in L'Manberg. But guess what? They didn't care. The citizens all realized that they only really favored Wilbur because of something that he did in the past. And the man he is now is not who he used to be. And they were also on this really weird kick of just country music. Like, they only listen to country music. And, well, jschlatt's in Texas. And it's not that hard to put 2 and 2 together. So the group unanimously voted for Schlatt and Quackity as the nation's president. And in a fit of rage, Wilbur took out his wand because he still has not lost it yet. And he just kind of, destroyed all of L'Manberg, killing himself and Schlatt in the process. Now, a week after this event, citizens of L'Manberg started to rebuild, but no man did more work than Philza Minecraft. It is often said that there is only one man that God fears, and that is Philza Minecraft. In a matter of days, he rebuilt L'Manberg in a single day. What? He brought in his son Technoblade to help out, but then history goes dark. And I mean that literally, like there was no light present. Only darkness and voices echoed through the wind, haunting the people of the SMP. This time is often referred to as the Era of Nightmares. There are no prominent records kept because this time was just so dark and vague. People heard different things, people saw different things. People were hallucinating because of the darkness. A lot of them just don't like night that much. That's because mobs, and it's Minecraft, you guys know how nighttime works. But this stayed around for weeks until March 16th, when the fog was finally lifted. To the absolute horror of the L'Manberg citizens, the country was left devastated once again. Nothing was left. Holes buried to bedrock just everywhere in this meat. It was just a crater at this point. But no one could be found accountable. The country was left wondering who did this, and just pointed fingers at each other until the people drifted apart and decided to venture on their own journeys. And so now we're here in the present day. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that crazy how we got here? Anyway, my name's Burr Shot Me, and you should subscribe.